My name is Richie, and I am web administrator for WOMANTRA, which originally started as a Facebook group and now is moving into activism. And also, I'm a board member for IAM1, which is a sexual and gender minorities community organization that is essentially just seeking to create safe spaces and to empower members of the community to both express themselves and to look into themselves. WOMANTRA has over currently we have 917 members as of today. We get between 5 to 10 membership requests weekly. Sometimes it soars, sometimes it dips, depending on the social climate, depending on if something has stirred up feminist discussion. It is primarily a Caribbean feminist organization, but we do have diasporic ties to many different parts of the world. In fact, our founder is currently based in Portugal. It originally started as a Facebook group, primarily as a space for individuals within the community, or women and men, to discuss topical issues or flashpoints in Caribbean culture or international culture or media to, generate conversation, challenge norms, just also for people to challenge their own perspectives. And we had a lot of discussion, a lot of discourse, being generated throughout interactions on the page, and also some community building as well as some activism. As you can see here, we have the Silent Silhouettes Project. The original incarnation of the Silent Silhouettes Project was done by Michelle Isaba, an artist, and Stephanie Leach while they were here at UE. And it is mainly activism in relation to domestic violence. And as WOMANTRA now moves into being a full an activist organization, we decided that in honor of the 16 days of ending gender-based violence, we created this, and we've had installations done in different places, and we've also had body activism in the sense that people have themselves been representative of the women and children who have been victims of gender-based violence. I was recruited by Timia Hurun, who is not here, but is a very passionate person and also a member of the sexual and gender minorities community, to work on this project that seeks to challenge hegemonic narratives about what it means to be a member of the sexual and gender minorities community within this space. We've deliberately chosen the phrase sexual and gender minorities just because, as other panelists have spoken about, especially CEDRIANN, in terms of people don't necessarily identify all the time with the term lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. There's a myriad of sexual expressions within the region that are some mati work and other things that and just in general, some people just identify with being same gender loving or same sex loving without necessarily wanting to engage with the label of LGBT. So we deliberately chose this phrase to allow people to maintain their personhood but still be actively involved with the organization. Primarily, currently we're working on the Your Story project, which is we're attempting to self-anthropologize. Oftentimes you have a lot of discussion within the region and internationally about the sexual and gender minorities community within the region that oftentimes doesn't originate from within that community. So we're trying to empower members of the community via surveys and extended focus groups and conversations to look not just at themselves but at other members of the community and how their experiences shape their lived reality within this space. So we are working on not just collecting statistical data or data that would allow us to better serve the community in terms of providing resources, but also just anecdotal data about their experiences in this space, and just trying to garner information about like all the other mitigating factors that, aside from their sexual orientation or their gender identity, that may affect their lives, such as class, racism, sexism, and those kind of things. So it's mainly about building some kind of indigenous movement, building some kind of indigenous community, and we're mainly focused on social change and working within social spaces because, as we believe, the personal is political, and we want to engage people on personal levels and within their private spaces and bring them from being, privately involved, like privately advocating or just privately living their lives, into this broader movement and engaging them on the level that they want to be engaged on. WOMANTRA, in the same vein, provides a space for people to just discuss. It's a venting space. It's a venting avenue where people just express their frustrations, and sometimes communally we can act to alleviate those frustrations, which we have done in terms of like troubling sexist Facebook pages. And it's mainly just about community. If both organizations are primarily focused on community, primarily focused on empowering the individuals within the community and challenging narratives that would suggest that, there's a much more simplistic, reading of what it means to be a member of sexual and gender minorities community within this space, or being a woman or a man with feminist values, or even just being a woman in this space and what that entails.